When you wake up every day without a crystal clear vision of who you want to become, your mind defaults to running the same old patterns it's been conditioned to follow for years. It's like driving without a destination. Sure, you're moving, but where are you really going? The brain craves direction. It listens to the commands you give it, whether those commands are conscious or not. If you're vague, if you say things like, I just want to be happier, or I want to be successful, your mind can't lock on to anything specific, and so it simply replays yesterday's habits, yesterday's doubts, and yesterday's excuses. Clarity isn't just knowing what you want. It's vividly imagining it until it feels real. It's painting the picture so boldly in your mind that it becomes impossible to ignore. Who are you 5 years from now? How do you talk? How do you carry yourself? What do your mornings look like? How do you treat people? And how do they see you? The sharper and more detailed your vision, the easier it is for your brain to align your decisions, your focus, and your energy toward making it happen. When you truly decide who you want to become, it's not a casual wish. It's a commitment. You're no longer dabbling in possibility. You're declaring a new identity. And when you operate from that identity, everything changes. Your standards rise, your tolerance for distraction shrinks, and your actions begin to match the person you've already decided you are. That's the power of clarity. It turns your mind into a GPS that's locked on a destination and refuses to get lost. Every single day, you're having conversations with yourself that no one else can hear. Those conversations are shaping the way you think, the way you act, and the way you feel about yourself. The words you use in your mind are not harmless background noise. They are instructions to your brain, commands that influence your confidence, your energy, and your willingness to take action. If your inner dialogue is filled with phrases like, I'm not good enough, I always mess this up, or I'll never change, your mind begins to believe them, and your life starts to mirror that belief. Your brain is constantly scanning for evidence to confirm what you tell it. If you call yourself lazy, it will find moments that reinforce that story. If you say you're capable, resourceful, and resilient, it will seek out proof of that instead. The shift begins with catching those small, almost invisible moments of self-sabotage in your language. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about speaking in a way that builds you up instead of breaking you down. When you choose words that empower you, you're rewiring your mind to expect better outcomes. You're training yourself to focus on possibilities instead of problems. You're programming your brain to see challenges as opportunities rather than threats. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Before long, the voice in your head stops being the critic that holds you back and becomes the coach that pushes you forward. The first hour of your day is the most influential period for your mind. It sets the tone, the mood, and the momentum for everything that follows. When you roll out of bed and immediately check your phone, you hand over your focus to notifications, news, and other people's agendas before your own mind even has a chance to breathe. But when you start your morning with intention, you take control of the mental steering wheel before the world grabs it from you. Your brain is like soft clay in the morning. It's more receptive to influence, more open to suggestion, and more responsive to whatever you feed it. This is why the first thoughts you think, the first words you speak, and the first actions you take matter so much. If you begin the day in gratitude, your mind starts searching for more reasons to be grateful. If you start with clarity, you begin the day knowing exactly what matters most. If you start with movement, your energy rises and your focus sharpens. A powerful morning isn't about cramming in every possible routine. It's about creating space for the habits that set you up for mental strength and emotional stability. Whether it's journaling, meditating, reading something inspiring, or simply reviewing your goals, those few intentional choices act like a reset button for your brain. You're programming yourself to show up as your best before the noise of the world tries to dictate who you are. And when you win that first hour, you carry a sense of control and momentum into everything you do for the rest of the day. Your brain doesn't transform because of one breakthrough moment. It transforms because of what you do over and over again. The mind learns through repetition, carving mental pathways that grow stronger each time you travel them. At first, adopting a new thought pattern or habit feels awkward, almost unnatural, because your brain is still wired for the old way of doing things. But the more you practice, the more those new patterns become familiar, and eventually they take over as your default mode of thinking and acting. This is why change often feels slow in the beginning. It's not because you're failing, it's because your mind is still adapting. Every time you repeat a positive behavior, reaffirm an empowering belief, or take action toward your goals, you're reinforcing that mental pathway. Over time, those small, consistent choices form a new mental blueprint, one that guides your decisions without requiring as much effort or willpower. And no different than learning a skill, like playing an instrument or speaking a new language. At first, it takes conscious focus, but with enough repetition, it becomes second nature. The key is not to wait until you feel ready or motivated. The act of doing it consistently is what creates the readiness and motivation. Repetition is the bridge between who you are now and who you want to become. And every time you cross it, you make it easier to travel again. Logic alone rarely changes the way you think or behave. You can know something is good for you, understand why it matters, and even believe it's possible. But until you connect that belief to emotion, it doesn't fully take root. Emotion is the amplifier that turns an idea into a conviction. When you feel something deeply, your brain records it differently. It stores it not just as information, but as a lived experience. This is why simply repeating affirmations without emotional connection often falls flat. If your words don't stir anything inside you, they remain surface level. But when you visualize your future with vivid detail, when you imagine the pride, joy, or relief you'll feel once you achieve it, you're engaging the emotional part of your brain that drives real change. Emotion is the glue that bonds a new belief to your subconscious, making it harder to forget and easier to act on. Even in moments of pain, emotion can be a powerful ally. The frustration of staying stuck, the sting of missed opportunities, the heaviness of regret. If you channel these feelings into determination, they can fuel transformation. Change becomes inevitable when your desire for a better future is felt more intensely than your comfort with the present. By letting yourself fully feel the emotions connected to your goals, you give your mind the urgency and motivation it needs to follow through. Your environment is constantly shaping your thoughts, your habits, and even your sense of what's possible. The people you spend time with, the conversations you engage in, the spaces you occupy, all of it sends signals to your mind about who you are and how you should behave. If you surround yourself with negativity, complacency, or low standards, it becomes harder to maintain high energy and ambition because your environment is pulling you in the opposite direction. The opposite is also true. When you place yourself around people who challenge you, inspire you, and hold you to a higher standard, you naturally begin to rise to meet that level. Your surroundings become a silent coach, constantly reinforcing the mindset and habits you want to embody. The energy of your environment seeps into you, whether you notice it or not. So curating it with intention is not a luxury, it's a necessity. This doesn't just apply to people. It applies to the physical space around you. A cluttered, chaotic space can cloud your mind and drain your focus, while an organized, uplifting space can create a sense of clarity and possibility. Your environment should be a reflection of the future you're building, not the past you've outgrown. When you deliberately choose to place yourself in spaces and relationships that align with your highest vision, you make it far easier for your mind to stay programmed for success. Reprogramming your mind is not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice of clarity, intentional self-talk, purposeful mornings, consistent repetition, emotional connection, and a supportive environment. Every choice you make is either reinforcing the old patterns that keep you stuck or installing the new beliefs and habits that will carry you forward. The power has always been in your hands, and the key has always been in your mind. When you decide to think differently, speak differently, act differently, and surround yourself with what lifts you higher, you begin to shape a new identity, one that matches the life you've always known you were capable of living. Your future isn't waiting for the right moment. It's waiting for the right mindset. Change your mind and you change everything.